Good morning, this is Steve. I'm up at the Talapus Lake Trailhead in the Alpine Lakes Wilderness with my good friend Jeno. We're going to head up to a couple of our favorite alpine lakes, Talapus and Olallie. It's a little after 6 a.m. after a very wet Tuesday. This morning is dry for now. We had a little bit of drizzle on the way up. This is the trailhead beginning. There's the bathroom over there. And there's one other car here in the parking lot. The road up was a bit lumpy and bumpy and rocky. This area was actually, I'm going to show you the sign, this was actually a area used by the Campfire Girls for years. They had a camp up here, and the beginning of the hike, you actually are walking on an old access road. It's very nice. So we're going to head up. It's about 2 miles to Talapus and then another mile up to Olallie. It's a fun hike. Should be a lot of mud up above Talapus. That area between Talapus and Olallie gets quite muddy. So we're anticipating some mud today, especially with all the rain we had yesterday. So come along. We're going to have a fun hike, and hope you enjoy it. Thanks. So the trail, as I mentioned, we follow kind of an old road up at the beginning here. It's really nice, very wide. Trail's in great shape. Jeno, I need a time check.
6:08.
6:08 as we start out. Should be about an hour up to the first lake. Maybe another half hour up to Olallie is my time estimate here. So we'll check in a little bit. We're in the Alpine Lakes Wilderness, Snoqualmie Mount Baker National Forest, beginning our ascent up to Talapus Lake. Trail's going to switch back up a hillside here. Jeno and I always like to make shout outs to people and organizations, and today that's to Washington Trails Association. They and their staff of trail volunteers rerouted this trail within the last 5 years, and it's really nice now, especially going up to Talapus. This trail used to be rocky, rooty, muddy, and as you can see here, it's not too bad. As we ascend this hillside, we're going to switch back up this hill. Trail used to be a lot muddier and rockier and rootier. I don't know if that's a word, but it's in real nice shape now, as you can see. So I mentioned earlier that they rerouted it from an older trail that was very rocky to this new trail. New trail still got some rocks, but looking down slope here, there's where the old trail goes. It's all been covered up with rocks and trees and stuff, and you can hear Talapus Creek is down slope to from us to the right. You can hear it roaring here over my voice. So coming up to one of my favorite spots on the trail, which I'm glad I have my video camera. I'm anxious to take a video of it, so we'll be there soon. So this is one of my favorite spots on the trail. Over here we have the outflow from Talapus Lake, Talapus Creek. Over there is the outflow from Olallie Lake, Olallie Creek. And this is where they converge. Getting close to Talapus Lake. Trail gets real mucky up in here when you enter the lake basin. There has been some work done, but I might as well keep filming. We're coming up to the really cool bridge right up there. But as you can see, trail's a bit muddy in the low spots here, and they're still doing work up here. Both Talapus and Olallie are very popular backpacking lakes. So I'm going to show you a sign here. There are some camps over here to the left, and shows you where they're located at. Jeno and I went and checked them out last year. There's some really nice camps over on that side of the lake. We've got this cool bridge we're going to cross over Talapus Creek. And Jeno has spotted a sapsucker on this tree pounding away. Pretty cool. Across the bridge here. Sorry, we're handing my hiking poles back and forth with Jeno. Pretty cool area though. They've, like I said, they've done a real nice job up here. So we're going to be at Talapus Lake in a couple minutes. And we have arrived at Talapus Lake. Very calm this morning. This lake does not really have any good beachy areas like Olallie, which you'll see later. But boy, it is dead calm up here. Just a beautiful morning. You hear water running way on the far side of the lake. Must come down that valley there, that notch that we're looking at. But a very calm morning. Boy, I'll say one thing, it is muddy down here. Getting down to the lake, it was quite a muddy excursion. So doesn't bode well for the trail between Talapus and Olallie, because that gets really muddy. So we'll see how it looks here. But this is Talapus Lake. Like I said earlier, there's 3 campsites on this shore over here. And then the trail, you can't see, I'm blocked by woods to the right, but the trail's kind of up on a ridge here. And the other campsites are down along this ridge. We're going to go down almost to the far end of the lake there before turning up slope and switchbacking up to Olallie Lake. So we'll continue our journey. So much to our surprise and happiness, we're on a new section of trail between Talapus and Olallie Lake. It's usually a real muddy trail, and it was climbing out of Talapus. And then we hit a spot where you could tell where the old trail went, and it's kind of blocked, and this new trail takes off. And this new trail is nice. No mud. As you can see, it's in really nice shape. And we're heading toward Olallie Lake here. The old trail, you used to go right along the creek, and boy, there was a couple spots that it was about as muddy as you can get, even late in the year, late in summer I should say. But we saw them working on this trail. We were up here, I think, last August, and we could see this trail being worked on. Didn't know if it would be open today, and it is, so a nice surprise. And we're getting close to Olallie Lake. Like I said, down at Talapus, not much beach access there, but you do have it at Olallie, so we'll be up there in a bit. Well, we're still on the new trail up to Olallie Lake. There's some patches of snow around. It's a little bit longer trail than we thought. It used to be about a mile between Talapus and Olallie, and this trail, it takes you way away from Olallie Creek, and now we're heading back toward it. So I'm going to be interested to see. We didn't have a GPS today, but it took us about 50 minutes to get up to Talapus, which is 2 miles. So we're going to kind of judge how far it is up here based on how long it takes us. And we've come to a trail junction. So we got Pratt Lake Trail going one way. We've come from Talapus. There's the old trail. And Olallie Lake is behind me here. We're real close. Like I said, a lot of snow up here still for mid-June in the trees here, and I could see it going over here to the left. Can't see it as well probably in the video, but we're back on the old familiar trail that we're used to up to Olallie. Weather has been real nice. It looks sunny to the east, eastern Washington, but so far so good here. No rain, no drizzle. It's just kind of a cloudy, mild morning. I told Jeno, always a good thing when there's no bugs out flying, so that's always good. So pretty close now to Olallie. Hang tight and we'll be there shortly. So we're approaching Olallie Lake, and like Talapus, they have a map of where all the campsites are. And one thing I failed to mention, when you approach lakes in the Alpine Lakes Wilderness, you see this sign. No campfires allowed, and that lets you know you're real close to the lake. So we're almost there. We'll see the lake in a bit. And we made it to Olallie Lake. Boy, the trail is muddy. So we're kind of glad they've rerouted it, because that reroute, it's not bad. But boy, this little section from where the new trail connects to the old trail, it is muddy. But as I mentioned, Olallie Lake gives you some great beach access. Still some snow on the surrounding shore, but let me show you Olallie. Glass smooth like Talapus. And the mountain in the distance is Pratt Mountain. High on the ridge there is a trail that goes to Pratt Lake, Island Lake, Rainbow Lake. You actually look down on Olallie from up there. And the campsites here are scattered. They start over here on our left and kind of follow the lake around. The trail on the other side over there kind of peters out and ends. There's a real cool campsite. We may go down and look at it down to the right here. It's by the lake outlet where Olallie Creek is flowing, but just a pretty morning here at the lake. Let me get a different view for you. A little bit of fog, the reflection of Pratt Mountain in the lake, and like I said, it is glass smooth this morning. So glad we came up here. All the trees up here have a lot of moss, really cool hanging moss growing from them. It's kind of interesting to see. We're at this open area near the lake, but all these trees, just you tell it rains a lot up here and they don't get much sun, and this tree's down. I can actually walk under it. Don't even hit my head. Well, got to duck a little bit. But I might have to make a correction. Jeno said one of the signs said there's no camping allowed up here, which is a surprise to me, because the sign I saw shows the camping spots, but Jeno looked at it a little bit more closer than I did, and evidently it says day use only. So we're going to check that out. We're also going to go check out my favorite campsite, which may not be a campsite. So we'll check it out and report back in. Oh, and it took us 40 minutes to get between Talapus and Olallie, so definitely more than a mile with the trail reroute, probably more like a mile and a half. So adds a little bit to the trail, but boy, it's nice here today. We're the only ones up here. There was that car in the parking lot. We haven't seen anybody. Hear a lot of birds, running water. Just a pretty morning in the Cascades. More to come. So here's the spot I was talking about that I thought was a camping spot. It's right by at the outlet of the creek here out of Olallie Lake. Kind of a cool spot. Nice running water right by your camp. But I may stand corrected. We're going to go up and look at this sign again, but it's a nice flat spot here, a little damp. Quite a bit of snow here coming back in here this morning, but there is the sign there that says camp. So we'll see what the main sign says, but you can see across the creek here there's a bit of snow, and a lot of snow around the shores of the lake other than the side we were on here. But and some morning fog. So we're heading down to Talapus Lake from Olallie. Pretty quiet morning up here. We're on the new section of the trail, which is in real good shape, but boy, when you get off of it, just be prepared. A lot of mud on the trail. I'm going to show you my leg, my sock. A little muddy. Boots are muddy. But very quiet morning. We've been debating, Jeno and I always like to guess how many people we're going to see on the trail, and this is a popular hike, but not a clear morning. It's good enough for us. We like the cooler weather and starting early. So we're debating, Geno's guessing 5 people and I'm going to guess 10. So when we get back down by the parking lot, I'll give an update on that. But again, many thanks to Washington Trails and all their volunteers. They've redone the trail up to Talapus, and they've redone probably 3/4 of this one up to Olallie. Makes it really nice to be out of the mud, or we'd be in a solid mud situation, needing 4-wheel drive. But pretty morning, sun's kind of coming out, water everywhere with the snow melt, and birds chirping and me yapping, so don't need to hear that. Anyway, check in a little bit later. So we're on the trail down to Talapus Lake here, and you climb this ridge out of here, and it's hard to tell probably from the video, but that's pretty far down slope from us as we head back down to the lake, so you really got to climb out of there. We have seen our first 2 hikers of the morning on the way to Olallie. They were heading up, so we'll see how many we see on the rest of the trip. But we're getting back down to Talapus Lake. Again, it's down slope here, and we're actually on the final descent, so you're quite a bit higher than this when you climb out of here. So I mentioned the trail was muddy in spots. This is kind of a typical section. Just listen to the squishing and squashing of my boots as I go through this mud. And then you come to a nice section like this that's been worked on. So they're still doing work up here. For the most part, it's a real nice trail. But there are some muddy sections, especially late spring, early summer. And I see a couple guys coming with a dog, so I'll shut off here. So the trail switchback's here, but not before going by this big boulder field. And my good buddy Jeno reminded me of about a year ago at this time, we took the old Mason Lake Trail, which traverses a much larger boulder field than this, and it was kind of a crappy day, and you have to do a lot of route finding, follow the cairns. But this is what you see up here in the west side of the Cascades. The Bandera Mountain is like this, Granite Mountain. You have these big chunks or big tumbles of boulders all together, and you can imagine trying to hike over a large boulder field like this that's slick, and not one of our fonder memories, but you can see it has turned out absolutely gorgeous. We've got blue sky and sunshine, and so it's turned out really nice here as we head back down. We've seen 6 total hikers so far, 3 pairs, so Geno's at 5 and I'm at 10. We'll see who's right. Talapus Creek heading down toward I-90. As are we. Beautiful day on the trail at switchbacks here, and we're gonna head down this way. We're out of the mud now, which is also nice. This is part of the trail reroute that I mentioned earlier between the parking lot and Talapus Lake that Washington Trails worked on. So we're almost done. It's about 10 after 9, so we started at 10 after 6 roughly. I can see the parking lot. We've seen 9 hikers today, so I'm going to win the count contest that we do. But hope you enjoyed hiking with us up to Talapus and Olallie Lakes. Weather is just spectacular right now. It's warmed up. I told Jeno it feels like it's warmed up at least 5 to 8 degrees, and sunshine, blue skies above us as we head out. We'll be hiking again. We've been kicking around some ideas. I think we're gonna go down to Mount Rainier next week, a week from today, and weather permitting, do one down there that time of year to hit Mount Rainier. But this is a real nice hike. If you're a hiker, backpacker, be prepared for some mud, but it's a fun hike. Like I said at the beginning, I think 2 of our favorite lakes in the Alpine Lakes Wilderness. Easy to get to, and spectacular settings. So hope you enjoyed, and until next time, I will see you then. See you on the trail.